What's up, everyone? Watching the 6-1 Showcase Dev interviews. My name is Kyle from the 6-1 Indie side of things. And today I'm joined with Colleen and Laurent from Ram Ram Studios, creators of 30 Birds. Thank you both for joining me. How are you guys doing?
Yeah,
Very
good.
good. Thanks.
Hi, Kyle.
Hello. Thank you for joining me so late in your day. Much appreciated. We're very excited about 30 Birds, but before we get into it, I would like to invite you to tell everyone about your journey as a game dev and a little bit about your history.
Yeah, thanks. So it started when we traveled to Istanbul in Turkey. We just went to make a book of travel, and as I'm an illustrator, Laurent wrote the text, and it was a kind of imaginary trip. And when we came back to Brussels, we discovered the Persian miniatures in Istanbul, and we wanted to tell the story of this crazy town. And so we had this book that we published, and then we were invited to make an exhibition about the book, and we thought, okay, let's do something more. So.
Yeah. So we thought about making an interactive painting with Persian miniatures, and that's how it started. Because the Persian miniatures, they're images from books, so they're very vertical, and it was like when we wanted to extend like a painting, it was hard to do it in another way than what we found. Like so we put them in as a cube, and
each miniatures was set on the side of a cube, and so we can turn around it.
It was making it was like a small building made of different paintings, and that's how we got our prototype in a way. But at first it was a work of art. But we thought, it would be so cool to have a game playing on this, and then it took really years to really come up with a concept, with something to do with this, because a game is not only visuals. And so years later we gathered a small team and we made a prototype for what we have today. And it was back in 2019, and in 2021 we were looking for a publisher with a prototype, and Arte, our publisher, they agreed to sign with us. So that's what kicked off the production in 2022. And so
awesome.
It's kind of the end right now. Like we want to release at the end of the year. So yeah.
Well, great. Congratulations on getting so close to the finish line. It's got to feel good, right?
Yeah. It's also like it's accelerating. There's a lot. There's a lot to do, and but it's super exciting also because we're starting to have a real game on our hands. And,
for sure.
Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah. When we were looking through the submissions of everything that was submitted, we were so excited to see the trailer that you submitted for 30 Birds. One, because of the visuals, and two, because of the way you're moving around the game, it being so unique. So let's start with the visuals. On your Steam page, you mentioned, and you also just talked about going to Istanbul to do a book of travel. So Persian art being an inspiration behind the way the game looks. What about that art style made it perfect for this game that you wanted to make?
Yeah, the Persian miniatures are visuals that illustrated the tales of the 15th century in Persia. So there are really it's images that tell stories, and you can find different timings in the same picture. It's different spaces in the same picture. You really want to travel in these pictures. So it was really easy to take the inspiration from them. And it's also, there are a lot of patterns, colors, and life in it. So it was, really a pleasure to take that. It was a really strongness to do the visuals.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, but there's also a perspective that kind of look video gamey as well.
Yeah,
actually. Yeah, it's also like very. It's also, I mean, for a Western high, it's also, not familiar. It's not like, it doesn't look like the usual idea we have from perspective, which is very interesting. And yeah, there is also like a mannerism, like it's very sophisticated, and that makes it, that makes it like pictures that, we wanted to do something else with these pictures. It's like changing the context a bit.
Yeah.
That was because we actually started doing this kind of things when we were making the book. So take this aesthetic that is from another world, and mix it with more modern things. Was an idea.
I was my apologies. Talking about like maneuvering through the world and having it being you mentioned like the picture boxes and having a cube that you're traveling around in the game. How hard is that to implement in a game? My, just playing games mind can't comprehend the work that goes into that.
Well, it sure is a tricky setup.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Actually the game happens on flat, and it's projected on 3D volumes. That's what allows to have seamless transitions, and that's a very big thing in the game. It's like when someone plays for the first time, like when they get to the angle, it's like, whoa! there's this thing, like it's always a pleasure for us to see that. It makes the game a bit complicated. It's also like there's also like it's a lot of the way we make it. There are some traditional aspect, like it's a lot of drawings. It's a lot of it's also big sprites and everything. So it's also a lot of traditional animation. So there are some challenges associated to the style.
The art style is a constraint, and the setup on Cube is also a constraint because we are always between 2D and 3D, and we have to figure out how to do the things. But it's also where we stand out. So it's both.
I guess it's also this challenge that makes it something interesting in the end, because we have to overcome some new problems.
Definitely.
And, there are some things like in the game that are kind of jokes as well about how games work usually. Like, for example, the game happens on the like you have the kind of this like a neighborhood. It will be a big lantern, and so you're on the surface on the lantern, and it's kind of the outside. But then you enter a building, and you get teleported to another small lantern that is representing the inside of the building. So it's kind of a small theater like this where you would play, and it has some absurd things, but that kind of makes sense in a gamer from a gamer point of view, because you have this thing in games, like when you get inside a building. Then you get a new way to represent that place. Usually, the style can change, the view can change, and it's also works pretty well in the end.
Yeah, for sure. It reminds me a lot of a game that I played a while ago, Fez, where you're maneuvering around a similar cube and solving puzzles. Which brings me to my next question. This is just a self-deprecating interview on my end, where like I said I'm not smart enough to comprehend how you make the game. Now I'm going to talk about not being smart enough to solve puzzles in games sometimes. How do puzzles get tackled in 30 Birds, and am I going to like tear my hair out trying to solve these things?
So the point is in 30 Birds is to get the contacts of 30 birds, and sometimes you're gonna have to to talk with them, but sometimes you're also gonna have to solve some problem. For instance, you have Dr. Lovebird, who is just like a
radio host.
radio host, and you will have to help him sorry, you're gonna have to help him with love problems.
Like with his show, like it's kind of a talk show with
Yeah,
with
cool.
people calling for love problems, this kind of thing. So this is more like a narrative thing.
yeah.
But yet there are some kind of mini games that are usually some of like a few of them are like they speak about music and drawing, because it's kind of the like two things that are like infusing the whole game, like the place of the game. We didn't talk about this, but it's a real musical place, and there's this weird thing that the music is inspired by Jamaican music, so it's
very cool.
there's kind of a there's kind of a clash like this. It creates like a new place that has quickness, quirks, yeah, and that makes it a bit that makes it interesting. But so yeah, some puzzles are just kind of instruments. They're toy instruments, so they're a bit they're like weird objects that you would have to
interact with.
To interact with, to find how it works. But it's not like a puzzle per se. It's
Gotcha.
not like a solving problems.
Okay.
But yeah, you also have some small puzzles. Like in the demo, for example, we had one that was really hard, but we are fine tuning it. but
right.
But it's not a lot of like usually the things will be pretty accessible. But it can be anything in the game. It's like you can draw, you can make music, you can.
That's awesome.
You can be confronted by like a facetious genes, this kind of thing, kind of creature that
At
will
some
like.
point, you're gonna have to tattoo some bird, because you're invited in a tattoo shop, and the tattoo bird has to go to do something. You have to replace him and tattoo his clients. So yeah,
that's really cool. I like that a whole lot, and that like perfectly segues into my next question of again, on the Steam page you mentioned meeting local goofs and lovable weirdos. It seems like you have a great cast of characters that you're going to run into. Do you guys have a favorite, and how much enjoyment do you get creating those kind of lovable goofs in the game?
My favorite one is Model Bird. It's a bodybuilded bird. Like, he's really shy, but when he gets off the clothes, he's like really bodybuilded and in 3D like that, in a 2D like setup. And so he's just taking some poses, and you have to draw him. It's an arts lesson, and you have to be quick, because that's how you learn how to draw.
Great.
Yeah, we don't know.
What's your favorite one? Maybe Ghoul Bird? No, I remember.
Also like Naked Bird, because it's pretty stupid. I like the more stupid they are, the more like them, I guess.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
I like this. There is a bit of like a Monty Python thing, like with. Like we have a lot of this thing. I mean, that's a thing I like. For example, I don't like the characters to be overly good and this kind of thing. I like it when they're like when characters they're a bit annoying and all. Like it makes me laugh.
No, I get it.
I think there's a lot like this. Like a lot of characters that are like they're not impressed, and they're kind of
And usually how we find them, the characters, is we are a team of like now we are 8 people, but from the beginning we are 4 or 5, and every one of us just think about an idea, and we are just co-creating the character together.
I love that. I love the co-creating nature of that. That's awesome. Before I ask the last question, I have a softball question for you. What's your favorite bird? And I guess why birds is the premise of the game.
You mean in real life?
Yeah, a real life bird. Real life bird.
Yeah. My favorite bird in real life. Good question.
Well, I know. I think like it's like the crows and the magpies. Like I really love these birds. Like they're so smart.
Yeah.
And they have like they have an attitude that's very funny. I don't know. I really like them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and for me, I don't know. Maybe the I don't remember the name in English. The Ibu.
The owl.
The owl, yeah, the owl. The owl just because it's the atmosphere of the night.
Yeah. Owls are cool. That leads us to our last question before we head on out of here. We've asked all the devs that we've sat down and interview this, and I want to preface this by saying there's no wrong answers, so don't feel like there's one correct answer. I'm leaning you which way. What does being indie mean to you guys?
Means
I know it's a
lot of
loaded
work.
question.
Like, yeah.
At first, I remember when we started the company, I remember we had this feeling to be on a boat together on a big sea, and we could choose all the different direction we could go to. That was a really strong feeling.
Yeah. Now I have to a lot the thing like being an indie is like you're doing everything.
Yeah.
So it's but yeah, it's a lot really, because I think we work in a place with a lot of other indie devs
in
like,
Brussels. We have a kind of hub with
like our office is only indies, like small very small companies and solo devs, and like because the Brussels scene is really it's starting. There was nothing recently. So it's pretty new, and we are we're very close together. Very
you're supportive of each other.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
And we talk a lot about this, about being indie, because we talk a lot about the financial side of it, like the way you want to work, the choice you have to make, and it's really a lot.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, it's.
But something also I could say is if we want to stay like in this scale, we're gonna need like some financial help from the cultural side of the government, because we can't continue to do games if we don't have some help, and that we want to do games inspired by culture and that bring something to the culture. So I think it's okay to do that, to ask for financial help. But it's still a question. Like, okay, we are selling our game, but we are still asking for help. So what is the balance?
But you have this, you have this big thing that like we're talking about this a lot compared to movies, for example, these kind of things, because well, we are, I mean, lucky that in Europe you have this thing. You have like a cultural funds, and you can have help. Well, in Brussels we don't, but so it's kind of complicated. But we also helped by another company, a Belgian company, and they get some help from their region. So that's a thing. But yeah, there is this problem that when you're making a game, like making games is really it's really hard, and you need very good people. And it's super hard to find good people. And the problem you have once you make game is not like a movie that you can. Okay, you made your movie. You like everybody's free and everything. And in the movie as well, you have like a lot of people waiting to work in the movies. This kind of thing. While when you're making games, like you have good people, but if you don't have money, you can't keep them, and it's really hard because it's a studio. You have to keep going, and so it's completely different. That's why it's super hard to manage this, like with the also with how the market is right now, with the like more and more competition. A lot of people right now, I'm not entirely sure about it, but a lot of people have a feeling that right now on the big platforms, you don't really have the same discoverability that you had before. Like if you have special games. I recently had an experience that like a game that I was waiting for, that I saw last year, like in events and everything, like, and I thought it was an indie darling. And like I just learned that it was out from October, and I didn't know, and I was like, "What? What happened?" It was super hard. It was super weird to me to realize this. And like they didn't quite sell, and I'm wondering why. I would have buy it. I mean, I'm gonna buy it, but
exactly.
I didn't when it was released. And maybe other people are in the same case, so it's.
Which is a big reason why we at 6 1 Indie are doing what we're doing. It's because we believe in the smaller games. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll pat myself on the back over here. Like indie games are so important to just video games as a whole, and the fact that the discoverability part is something that we notice all the time, and we were wondering how to make that easier for people to find these amazing games that aren't just copycats of one another, that are unique and important and cultural experiences. And that's a fight that we're going to keep doing, and showcases, podcasting, whatever it takes to make sure people know about these games, including 30 Birds. Yeah, it's awesome. I loved hearing that answer. I love hearing that you have a close knit group of fellow game devs there to kind of like lean on a little bit. That's great.
Yeah, we're lucky. We're lucky to have that in Brussels.
Yeah, and something we've learning during these interviews with other devs in other countries, getting like just the option to get government support is not something here in the States that is a thing, which is a bummer for the indie dev scene over here. So it's good to hear that other countries are doing it right. Thank you all for joining us today to learn a little bit about 30 Birds. Colleen and Laurent, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, anytime. If people want to keep up to date on everything 30 Birds and Ram Ram Studio, where can they find you guys?
Well, on
Twitter.
On Twitter and Steam.
Great.
Please wishlist the game.
Yeah, please wishlist the game. Absolutely. Like all the other games we showcased today in the showcase, if you go to 61indie.com/showcase, you'll find the link to 30 Birds and all the social links, the Steam store page. Everything will be there for you to find easily. So go check them all out and show them the love that they so rightfully deserve, as well as the other games. Thank you so much. Catch the other 19 dev interviews we have up. And we love you, and play more indies. We'll talk to you later. Bye.